Hello, welcome to another Blender video on my channel. Today we will learn how to create an environment like this one. We will be creating a whole new scene following the same steps that were used to create this render, yet I will not put my whole effort to create the exact scene, because you know the details take a lot of time, but if you follow me to the end of the video, you will have a scene like this one, and if you love the video and learned something new, and want to support me, then you can totally follow me on Patreon. I will leave its link in the description. First we will set up our scene, then later we will do the textures and learn a quick way to do the shading. I will show you some tips, how to reduce the render time, how to use the compositor to create depth, mist, change the mood of the scene, ambient occlusion, and much more. After watching and following me, all of you will have beautiful renders of your own. But before we jump into Blender, if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, then please subscribe so you are always notified of my upcoming videos, and if you like my work, then you can totally support me by following me on Patreon. All my patrons will get my final blend files for free. Well, let's start blending. Delete the cube. Shift A, to bring in a landscape. If you cannot see that option, then go to Edit. Preferences, Add-ons, search for landscape. Check the landscape add-on and now you will be able to use it. Now press Shift A, select landscape. We now have an already generated landscape, but this is nowhere like our final result. Open the landscape settings. Select another noise from the presets drop-down menu. You can see it has started changing its shape. Now click on Noise Basis drop-down menu, select Cell Noise. You can see a difference already. Now click on Effects drop-down menu. Select Blocks. Select Add from Effects drop-down menu. You can select Subtract or any other, and it will have a totally different result. I will be using Add. I will not be using Fall Off. Select Quartize Mix from the Strats drop-down menu. You can play with other strats, but Quartize mostly give the best results. Scroll through Random Seed, as it will create whole new scenes for you. It is totally on you. Look around for what you want. Look at the mesh and feel what an end result might look. It's totally your choice now. This is looking nice. Offsets will move and scale your mesh around the axis you select. Size will increase the size. Noise will increase the noise scale. You can play with it and also with depth, amp, frequency, and distortion as well to get interesting results. All you have to look out for is to have less pointy edges, because you may have distorted textures around those areas, and you have to manually fix them later. I will not be looking for the best result, or go into a lot of detail because it's just a test scene for me. You can check what results you might get by changing effect bias and effect mix. Well, multiply sure is not what we want. I think subtract is looking more better, so I will be using subtract. You can also test rest of these as well for some more results. I will change all of the settings, and you will get an idea of what it does. You can totally take your time, and check all these settings. Fall off simply clears the mesh and make it straight along the axis you select. I will be using this mesh. You can have any different shape of your own, it doesn't matter, because the process will be the same. When you're done, you can click anywhere to finalize your mesh. Now it's time to put a material on our mesh. Go to shading. Click on new. Continuously save your scene, so you don't lose any progress of yours. Press Ctrl-Shift-T, to directly search for your desired texture. If you cannot, then you should have to turn on the Node Wrangler add-on. After enabling, click on Principled Node, and press Ctrl-Shift-T. Now you can search for your desired textures on your PC. Shift-select all the nodes, and click on Principled Texture Setup. But this is not what we want it to look like. Go to Edit Mode, press A to select all the faces. Press U, unwrap. You can totally use Decimate or Remesh, if the scene got dense a lot for your system. But I will not be using them. I will show you some results if you just play with the texture coordinates. Generated and object might look the same. Camera, what it's doing is just projecting the texture on our mesh from our viewing angle. But we will be using UV. I will increase the scale to 100 on all three axes. Now it's looking good. I will change the location as well as rotation till I get something that I like. Now it's time to bring an HDR into the scene. I will use the Scene Skies add-on. You can bring any HDR of your choice in the scene. Back to layout view. Change the render engine to cycles. It's looking quite good. I will switch back to Eevee for a while. Now I will add some additional lights in the scene. Bring in a sun lamp. Rotate it so you can see some additional shadows. It's totally your choice where you want to place it. It can act as a backlight or even a fill light for us. Now bring in an area light. Change the color of your area light to what you want, and scale it up. It will also create a good sense of atmosphere for the final render. Ctrl-Alt-0 to directly place the camera at your viewing angle. Go to Camera Settings. In Viewpoint Display, turn Opacity to 1, so you know exactly what your final result will look like. Change the focal length to 30 or 20, totally your choice. Adjust your camera. Yeah, I like this angle. Bring in an empty into the scene. Place it where you want your camera to focus at. Check depth of field and in focus on object, select the empty. Increase f-stop to 12, so you do not get the shallow depth of field. You can also increase blades to 10 and rotation to 45 degrees. Change the area light color slightly blue. Turn on ambient occlusion and screen space reflections for some better representation of your final render. Duplicate the area light. Scale it down. And change its shape to rectangle. Place it as a fill light. Change its color to light orange. Back to cycles. If you think your scene looks overexposed, then you can reduce your light strength. You can even place more lights because I did. Like I said, I will not go a lot into the details this time. And I am not happy with my sun placement, so I will change it now. Back to EV, so we can have a better representation. Rotate the sun along Z-axis, till you find the best shadows, or the best look that you like. You can totally see the shadows change, when we rotate our sun lamp. Now we will change some settings before we render. Change to cycles. Sample count to 500. Check adaptive sampling. In performance, you can change your tile size, or you can turn on auto tile add-in for better result. Now color management, select medium contrast. Because we can later add more contrast to our own liking when we will be compositing. Now light paths, lower transmission and transparency to 3, because there are no reflective objects in the scene. Reduce the total number of bounces to 8, and uncheck reflective and refractive caustics. Only following these steps will reduce your render time a lot. Now for compositing, you have to check combined, Z, mist. You can also check denoising if you want to denoise our final render. Check some of these, so later you have more control compositing. But make sure you check them before you start rendering. (1920 by 1080) will be used as the final resolution. Go back to solid mode, so your PC do not have to calculate your scene as well while rendering. I will be back after the render is finished, because it sure will take some time. Our render is done. Now go to Image, Save As. Here you can save your render, but we will be doing compositing, so a normal PNG format is not the best way to go. We will select OpenEXR multilayer, so we have all the layer for compositing later on, even if you lose the render result, because if you don't have OpenEXR, you will have to render all over again. Now go to the Compositing tab. Check Use Nodes. We have the nodes already set up because of the render we just did a while ago. And these are all the layers mentioned on the Render Layer node, that you have selected before doing the render. The first thing we want, is to bring in a Viewer node. Connect image to image. Now in case you did lose your render and you don't know what to do, then you can follow this step. In Compositing window, Shift-A, search for image. Click on Open. Now you have to find the OpenEXR multi-layered image, that you saved after performing the render. You can see, you have all the layer passes. And you can use this image node to do all the compositing. Connect Combine to both the composite and viewer image output nodes. Middle mouse button will make you move your view. And if you want to move the background, you will have to press Alt middle mouse button. And Control middle mouse click to zoom in the nodes. I will duplicate the viewer node for some comparison. Now to check mist, connect depth to the viewer node, and you will see mist. Now we have to set up the nodes to control it. Shift-A. Color ramp. If I drag the black slider, the mist will go backward in the scene. Now bring in a mix node. Connect color ramp to mix, and mix to the viewer output node. But still we cannot see anything. Select Add from the drop-down menu. Now we can see our scene totally covered in mist. I will control the mist by playing with color ramp sliders. I will move the black slider to the right side. You will notice mist going backward a bit. And if I bring the white slider near, it will thicken it up. And if I take it beyond the black slider, the mist will totally work in the opposite direction. I am going to put it roughly close to the black slider. Lower the mix value to 0.50. And select the white slider and make it darker. The more darker color, the more visibility you will get, but still you will have a sense of atmosphere. If I connect combine to the other viewer node, and compare, you will totally find a difference. You will learn how mist works even more in the end of this video. Now I will bring in another mix node. This time connect the ambient occlusion output to the mix node, and set it to multiply. Reduce its strength to 0.583. Adding this AO pass also creates a sense of dirt on the textures. Just by adding these, our scene has improved a lot. You can totally see the difference, if you compare with and without the AO pass. This one step I am about to do now, is not very necessary, but it's totally your choice. Bring in another mix node. Change the color to black. Now select overlay and reduce its strength to 0.45. Bring in hue saturation node. Increase the saturation to 1.1. Reduce value to 0.9. If you play with the hue, it will totally change the mood of your scene. I will keep at 0.5, or it's your choice. Make some space, and then bring in brightness contrast node. Set the contrast to 0.5, or it may depend on your scene. Change the brightness to 0.1, you can play with other values as well, you can use what suits your scene better. Now open another window, and set it to the image editor. You can select the render result or the viewer node, both will show you the final composite result. You can save your image. But you will say this is not the result that I showed you before. Some new beginners will say, yeah, it's looking good, but no, it's not the best result. An artist is never going to leave his work, when he or she is so much close to have an even more better render. We have this render to notice all the problems. You could have done even a low quality render, but with good detail, you know what should be done to fix our scene in the cleaning process. Now we will be cleaning up the scene. Select your mesh, remove any pointy edges that are messing up the texture. You can add loop cuts, where you think you need more detail, especially mesh that is near your camera, and also stuff in focus, should have good detail. Take your time and fix up your scene. When you're done, you can play with your lights, change their color and play with the intensity values. When you think it's enough, then you can find a best angle for your camera. Now you can change your UV scale and location settings, till you find a result that you like. Then a little bit more cleanup, from your viewing angle. If you do not want long edge loops, you can use the knife tool, to avoid getting long loop cuts. I am not going to work a lot on it. After you are done, go to edit mode. Press A to select all the mesh, press U, then unwrap. Play with your camera, if you think you can get an even better view, and then render. This is my new render result, and it's already been composite, because we have already told the Blender compositor what to do earlier. You can see this is our compositing window. Duplicate the viewer node for a quick comparison. Like I said before, I will talk about the mist pass again, so back to the color ramp. Lighten up the color of the gray slider, and you will see the mist. Now, like I said earlier, the mist shifts its position when we drag the sliders back and forward. This seems more reasonable. Now the white slider, if we move it near, the mist gets thick, and if I take it beyond the black slider, it totally behaves the opposite way. Now it's totally your choice, how much mist you want in your scene. I am going to darken it up again, because I just want a sense of atmosphere. You can play with the mix nodes, to get different looks. And you can also look at hue, if you want some interesting scenes. I will not be talking about more nodes today, because this video has become so long already. You can just drag open another window, and select image editor. Switch to render or viewer node and you get your final image. You can now save your final render. Hope you loved the video. If you did, then please like the video and subscribe my channel, and ring the bell icon as well, so you are always updated of my new upcoming videos. And if you have any questions, you can directly ask me in the comment box. Well, this is all for today. See you in my next video. Take care till then. Happy blending.